Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year from everybody, from Coin Guy to everyone. Have a healthy and wealthy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You want to do it on like three? Like a 1, 2, 3?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was it. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Happy New Year. Have a healthy and happy New Year to everyone from Coin Guy and Company.
Well, hello everybody. I am Spegtacular, the Silver Stacular. And in this video, I'm going to be speaking with Coin Guy at his shop in Spring Hill, Florida, about a really awesome collection he purchased. The collection was comprised mostly of Civil War tokens and hard time tokens. Now, kind of to define these for you, hard time tokens are American large or half-cent sized copper tokens, and they were struck from around 1833 to 1843, so about a 10-year span, and they served as an unofficial currency. Now, these were like privately minted pieces that reflected political campaigns, satire of the era, and advertising for merchants and goods and services. And now, me personally, I think of these hard time tokens similarly to what we call today as a meme, but in a physical form and tradable for goods and services. Now, also Civil War tokens, which he also shows in the video, were privately minted and distributed in America between 1861 in 1864 and were a result of scarcity of government-issued cents during the Civil War. Now, I can do it, but can you think of a time in very recent history, American history, when cents have become scarce? Think about it for a second. Okay, now that I've gotten you a short understanding of some of these tokens, let's visit Coin Guy and learn more and see these amazing collectible pieces of history. Well, hello everybody. I seek to educate and entertain through my journey of collecting coins and stacking precious metals. I encourage you to subscribe and please stay with me on this journey. I am Spegtacular, the Silver Stacular.
I brought out is something interesting that I picked up a couple of weeks ago, and I've never seen an accumulation as big as this. I bought a couple of boxes of tokens, and going through them, they were all Civil War tokens. I'm talking hundreds of Civil War tokens. They were more in a raw state, basically in flips like these. I put about 25 hours in already, and I still got another 25 hours of work. But I'm going to talk to you about Civil War tokens and store tokens. You have what you call patriotic tokens, and you have Civil War tokens. This is the Bible for tokens. This is out of print. This is a 2004 copy, the newest copy I have. But it gives you the general knowledge. And when you're getting Civil War tokens, there are two types. There are the patriotic tokens, which are the ones that you're going to see that don't have states on them or areas like that. It's about split even between the two. You'll see cannons on them. You'll see 1863 on even the store tokens. The patriotic tokens are the ones that were made by the states. At this time, at the beginning of the Civil War, a lot of silver and gold disappeared. There wasn't money for commerce. We had a touch of that with the Wuhan virus a year ago, where you couldn't get change for anything. Well, all the money disappeared at this time. So you had states making currency, making pennies. And most of them were dated 1863. And then you had businesses, what they call store tokens. And they would make currency, but it was only good at their stores. And I've seen meat stores, druggists, card stores, sundry, dry goods, all kinds of odds and ends, bars, a lot of bars and saloons, and they would make them. And they were all redeemable at the stores.
Only those stores? Is that how it goes?
Excuse me?
Only those stores?
Only at those stores.
Ah.
But the Civil War patriotic tokens still were good anywhere. And people accepted them for money. And most of them looked like the Indian head penny from 1863. A large majority was. And they made millions. In here it says, I think about 20 million or something like that.
In like total of
Yes.
all of them? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They made a lot of them. How many survive, I don't know. But there is a scale for grading them.
I will say that I've gone to coin shows many times, and I see people asking for, Civil War tokens, hard time tokens, and everybody says, "I don't got them. No, I don't have them. Next table." And then that person just doesn't get what they want because they don't have these available. You never see these.
And I believe that because, as I said, I was stunned by how much was in these boxes. Maybe in a given year, I might see 5 to 10 Civil War tokens, patriotic and store tokens, and a couple of hard time tokens, and I'll explain what they are next. But, maybe you see a half a dozen a year, but to have one person come in with hundreds, these 2 boxes full. These have all been categorized already. I still got to do these. These are tokens from states. Some states had very few. Rhode Island only had 4 or 5. Connecticut only had a few. And you'll see in here, there's only a few choices. Obviously, these are the states with the most numerous: Ohio, New York, and Michigan. They had a lot.
You got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, but here's what I do. I love doing this. Like I said, I might put in 40 hours at the store, but at this time, I'm probably putting 30 hours in at home.
Yeah.
Here's
I mentioned it real quick before, you see all the stuff you've had to look up. You've got it all highlighted. You've got the information. You've got the price on there. That's a lot of work, and that's just, you see one. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I've done hundreds.
Yeah.
I took these with me to St. Augustine. We were there last weekend, and I was working them down at downtime. I was doing it when the kids were on the beach.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going in the water. Somebody might harpoon me or something. I don't know.
Harpoon you? Oh, come on, man.
But you can see there's R numbers on these. Here's an R9. We couldn't find this one. This is certified by Annex.
Well,
this is an old holder.
Explain the R's.
Right here.
Okay.
There's a scale that tells you not how many were made, but survived, the estimated survival. Now, this book's been around for many years, so over the course of years and people who really specialize and they match up the types, an R9, here, 2 to 4 known.
That's it.
That's cool. There's no 10s, but there's quite a few 7s, 8s, and 9s.
No 10s in your collection.
No 10s in this collection.
Okay.
But this is an
wild, guy. Talk about something rare, and you have one here, right? R9.
R9. Couldn't find that one.
So 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the best you could possibly get on this one.
Yeah, there's only a few. And this is an AU. AU 58 details.
Let me get a good look at that one.
Ohio.
So Ohio Hamel token.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get a good look at it here. Sometimes these copper pieces are a little
We
difficult.
couldn't find it. Tara couldn't find it online. Somebody out there is going to find it, and then he's going to offer me $10 for it, and I'm going to say no.
Dry goods groceries, huh?
Yeah.
Hamilton.
And that's what they were. They were store tokens.
So that's a city in Ohio, Hamilton?
Yeah.
Township, maybe.
Okay, township.
Yeah, like New Jersey has Passaic. It has different Long Island. You had New York, and you have all the different parts of New York.
Tell you what, this was a different time too, wasn't it? Look how they rotated it. They have it straight here, and then we go this way.
However it fits. Now, this holder's 35 years old. This is the first generation of the Annex holders.
Annex.
So you can see he was putting these away 35 years ago.
Annex are like the original coin graders? Yeah.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you got others who got in the NGC ones. There are a few here you'll see that are worth sending in to be certified.
Let me see a couple more of these right here. R3, so R3 means there's 500 to 1,999, right?
2,000 to 500 to 2,000, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Not that rare, but when you get to a 4 only has 2 to 5, less than 500.
Not that rare, but super rare.
Yeah.
Let's we're buying coins these days that have millions made. Hundreds of thousands, and we're going, that's a rare issue.
Well, you get anything 6 or lower here, and R6 is less than 75.
That's crazy.
There's 6, 7s, and 8s all through here. You would think that something with an R8, even if it's got a hole in it, with a mintage of 7 or 7 known, has to have value.
I'm gonna have to buy something from you today, there, guys. This is neat. I don't have a single one of these either.
Like I said, I have sold quite a few. I dropped off 30 with my son. I gave him a bundle down there. He's already sold 5 of them. I put a bunch. I've sold about 12 or 14 in the store already because I put up one of these trays. And that was just a couple of days before we closed for the end of the year to do inventory and such.
Yeah, these are awesome.
And this is one of the few times in history where you had states producing their own currency. Now, Civil War tokens are in northern money. I mean, there's nothing here that was made in Florida. There's, I think, one token from Mississippi, but one token from Virginia. But the store tokens in the Civil War, they're against slavery. They're northern. It's a northern thing.
Okay.
Where, you have, of course, Civil War currency, which is this stuff. Now, this is southern. I have more down here.
Confederate States of America. Gotcha. Oh yeah, you have a bunch down here.
I had bought a huge collection of this about 3 months ago. But this is your Confederate, and the others would be Northern. But this is one of the 2 times in history where they actually let states for a while make their own currency, whether it was stores or they were accepted by the public as currency. The other time, as I was reading, was it's right here, is during the Revolution, where you had Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, the revolutionary tokens, or the money of the Revolution, pennies, half pennies.
Can't see much on those. Do they have much of a reverse on those?
These don't have very much of anything. Because this is a fair and it's still worth $70.
Wow.
No, there's not that. You probably can't get the detail with that. When you clean it a little, they come up nice.
Yeah. Wow.
And then you have the government put stop to it around 1865. To find any Civil War tokens, there's a few in 1861, a few in 64. The hardest are 65s. I haven't found any. I may yet. Like I said, this is a treasure hunt to me. And these are what they call hard time tokens.
Definitely something unique, huh?
Yeah.
Hard time token. Now, what's the
Hard
difference?
time tokens were like from 1833 to 1840. This was a totally different, this is mostly political. It was Andrew Jackson against other power people.
Can I see this one?
And here's the ones with more detail.
So it was political, but still like a money? Like you could
use it, yes. They
says not 1 cent.
not 1 cent. They trying to, it's a disclaimer, but you could use it in stores and places like that if you agreed politically.
If you put 1 cent on one of these, is that a big deal, you think? Like, was that like against the law then or something?
I guess it depended on who was the politician in power. See, this was Andrew Jackson against the power brokers. Part of what I've read in here and what I know from other history is the fact that he wanted to do something unheard of. I mean, they were in the middle of Indian Wars still. He wanted to balance the budget. Could you imagine that? Now, I don't know the exact amount, but he wanted to balance the budget. And the best way to do that was to put tariffs on, we would send cotton to England and France. They would make cloth. It would be sent back. He wanted to tariff that. He wanted to tariff tobacco, rum, whatever it may have been, whatever you can get a nickel out of. He wanted to raise money doing that. And the power brokers at the time, they didn't want none of that. They didn't want to pay an extra nickel of a barrel or whatever it came out to. They wanted to be left alone. And that's why the politicians got vicious, as you've seen recently. And that's what it did. That was the hard time tokens. And what happened at the time, too, was rather than pay tariffs, I was reading in here where they actually shut down industries. Was it New York or Boston? 1,400 factories shut down. The winter of 37, and thousands starved.
No.
And that's why it was hard time. People starving. There was no soup lines or anything like. Maybe the church could help you, but thousands starved in the major cities. If you lived in the country, I guess you could find a chicken, but in the cities you died.
Jeez.
And that was what hard time tokens were about. And it lasted for about 4 or 5 years, and they're nowhere near as popular. And from what I'm understanding, Civil War tokens are more popular now than they've ever been. As I said, I've never seen a collection with so many. And there's some doubles, but I bet you there's 500 to 600 different ones, and I don't know how many there are total. But I know that some of these states, like you'll get some states, New York, Ohio, and Michigan, like even Indiana. Indiana has a number. Yeah, here's Iowa.
So
There's only four.
Four
There's only
possible
four
tokens.
you can get. Yep.
Okay.
And look at these numbers. Look at this. I didn't get any of those. It starts at $500.
Oh, here's a Kansas right here. They get 1,000 for a very fine. 1,600. Whoa.
And that's the only Kansas. Just like the other one that was the only one from Maine.
Yeah, some real rarities here.
Some of them, and you would think that some of the northern, even New Jersey didn't have that many. Here's Maine. Here's Maryland. That's more of a border one. Michigan is big. There's a lot of Michigan. And there's pages in Michigan, New York.
That's awesome.
This is 1 cent.
Now, New York has got a lot.
Yeah, New York's got a ton.
But New Jersey didn't have a lot. Yeah, here's New Jersey.
That's weird, right?
Yeah, you would think.
Neptune
Yeah, again,
House.
I have a Neptune house. I have one of those.
It'd be
Some
cool
of them
to-
I found really interesting.
Yeah.
But many of them are dry goods. I saw a couple of jewelers. There's Milwaukee. I had a couple of Milwaukees, like 4 or 5. They break it down into cities in those states. But Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I think it was only about 6 from Wisconsin. And they were mostly beer related
Yeah.
ones in Milwaukee.
It'd be so cool to like get one of these tokens and then go back and learn about like what Neptune House was.
Or
I know
Neptune,
what it sounds
Neptune
like.
House might still be there.
It might be.
You know, a lot of these, somebody may see this and say, that's my great-grandfather's beer distributor.
Yeah.
You know, I got to have that coin at any price. And for $40,000, I can make it very valuable to you. Don't feel bad.
Luckily, they're actually pretty cheap.
Now, a lot of them are under. I had one wholesaler already blanket offer me $15 a piece. Any condition basically, whatever I had. And if he's offering that, I really think they start at 25. But I've got a lot here, and he's looking to get 100 of them.
That's cool.
And so,
Before we get too far ahead, can I see a couple of these ones, these hard time tokens? Like this one right here in particular. I got to use your screwdriver tool. And this one on the actually
this
end.
is a specialized tool. I got to patent this.
Yeah, it's really good. I think that Home Depot has some patents on those already, probably.
We were scurrying around for a big screwdriver yesterday. Nathan and I were here yesterday morning. That was yesterday morning, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We were out patching some holes and we painted
Institute.
all the stripes again.
This is cool. Like the artwork on this is fantastic. Hold on. I got to read this. Before I go on, I got to read this. R&W Robinson for the best, what does that say? Military, military, naval, sporting, and plain flat buttons?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? This one right here. You want to see it? That's if you need your buttons, that was where you went.
This is New York
Yeah,
Merchants. Yep.
There's commas in between everything. For the best military, naval, sporting.
Right? It's hard to read.
Plain flat buttons.
In those days, you would have had
And
general,
plain flat buttons.
general merchants who handled everything, handled many items.
Where's the
I'm
other one?
sure the same place that you would go to pick up, 10 pounds of beans, you could pick up 4 yards of cloth also.
You see that one? Oh, look at that. I don't even need your tool. Huh? I got the fingernails.
My patent's out the door now.
It's gone now. You're out of gas.
These buttons were hard to come by.
1837.
1837, 35 is the biggest theme of those.
It's so funny, like how you flip them, you never know how it's going to flip.
Yeah, and it could be in any direction. It isn't that it's a rotated die or anything.
Yeah.
Some of the dies are broken on some of these, some are cracks.
These are
But-
cool. Man, for something to survive that long, I mean, these are in really good condition.
They're pushing almost 280 years or
Yeah.
more.
For copper, right? Are they-
Yeah, you would think that, a lot of these were just, and they, their time of use was very short. And I'm sure that, like, with patriotic tokens, a lot of the 1863 pennies. At first glance, a lot of them look like 1863 or 1864 Indian heads. I mean, they're the same style.
Well, yeah,
And
there's a couple
they
here.
would pass.
They were like Indian head-ish. Like here.
There's a lot of them with the Indian head.
Boom.
And I guess that was easier for people to accept them, to use them over and over. Yeah, here's a cool one.
I tell you what's cool about this as a collection. You know, like if you go into like, hey, I collect Indian head pennies. Let's go, you know, that route. All you're collecting really is a different year on every single Indian head penny. For these right here, man, you got different
Same year, but
everything's.
yeah, here's one with a snake on it.
Oh boy. Let's see the snake.
Here's one with a cannon.
I saw one.
This is a cool one. The clipper
Let
ship.
me see if I can get. Hold on, I'm trying to get a better shot on these here.
Just saw one with this thing.
Yeah, that's
I have
cool.
a few right here.
That's
No,
really
it
cool.
said, like, not don't surrender or something.
And they'll say not 1 cent, or they'll say shoot them dead. I mean, it says just say they
Oh.
out now tell you that.
I need a couple shoot you dead ones.
Oh yeah,
This one-
there's a few.
Here's a snake and it says beware.
Beware the
That's
snake.
what this says.
Oh, it does.
Is that the same one? Let's see.
It might be, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the same.
Fine.
I need it. It's fine.
There's a story about someone who raised the Confederate flag, I believe it was, in the middle of New York City at the beginning of the Civil War. And the general there told him to rip down that flag and shoot them dead. Anybody tries to stop you, shoot them dead.
Wow.
I think they needed a lawyer.
Jeez.
I don't know, talking about brutality, but shoot them dead. And that became the theme. And this guy became a general, and he became a colonel. He became famous.
Shoot them dead. Yeah, I gotta have one of those.
There's a lot of Army, Navy, no Air Force. There were no Air Force ones.
And you have each one labeled with Rarity too, right? Like, I mean,
Yes.
oh, yeah, R2.
And he was really good. I mean, I see some discrepancies between his Rarity and the book, but I'm going to give him the shadow of the doubt because obviously he knew a lot more about this because, like I said, this stuff goes back 40 years. And, you know, you just don't see a lot of them. He has all the codes, and these numbers will correspond to, these are the store ones. And then you have, here's the codes, the numbers. You take a number, and it looks it up, and it tells you pricing. And it gives you the Rarity next to it.
That's cool.
And some of them are huge. You get back into this time where the numbers get really big. I mean, it just says rare.
Now, as far as pricing, you said this book is a little outdated?
I find it's off by about 10 to 20%.
Okay.
In some places, even further.
Okay.
But I haven't looked up every coin. I'm using it more of a rule of thumb, and I'm working with it. Like I said, there's snakes, Army, Navy, our card, Civil War. There's princess pennies. There's all kinds of the pennies.
Very cool. So if somebody, are you trying to ship this stuff out?
I'm going to see if I get, well, I'm anticipating, you know, I don't know when this is going to come out, but I'm going to make it available to any viewers to see them, and we're going to mail them out. I don't want to mail out one. I'd like to send them in lots of 10 if possible, and we can work on numbers, or it'd be easier if you just want 10 different ones or something like that. And then a grade point.
See, today's the 31st, September 31st. I'm not going to be able to get this video out until next year.
Okay, I can work with that. How about Monday morning? No.
That's my first next year joke.
Okay. See, this is cool. These are very historic. This is the Union ironclad, which had the famous battle with the Southern ironclad. This is the Monitor, the Merrimack. Is that the Southern ironclad?
Hey, cool.
What's it called?
I'm looking right now. Give me a second.
It's got an anchor on it. Anchor's away.
They had some epic battle for
Cannons.
hours, hitting each other with cannons.
Yeah, you got cannons on here with little
Cannonballs.
cannonballs. That's
The
awesome.
what, John? Southern what?
The Southern ironclad. First Southern ironclad, I believe it was the
Our
Merrimack.
little monitor. I like
This is
that.
the Monitor.
That is cool. That's awesome
It is
artwork
an
too.
ironclad. See if it tells me it's the first. It's the best known.
And it's cool.
1855. It's the Merrimack.
Merrimack.
USS
There we go.
Merrimack. But it's not saying whether or not it was.
I know one of them sunk in a storm. But I have 3 or 4 of that, and I think that's a cool theme. This one is very expensive because it's, look at the grade. I mean, and the topic is just so cool.
Yeah, the fact
If
that
you're a
it's
naval
like that.
buff, and this has got a combination of the Civil War and one of the first ironclads and the history behind them.
I'll tell you what's so cool about these and their pricing. So you have $269 on this right here as a MS63, and try to get something from 1863 and an MS63 for that price of a coin. You're not going to see it.
Very comparable to a lot of the copper nickel pennies. And as I said, this is a more common date. All of these seems, they must have made a lot of them. Obviously, they were all ones. So there was a very popular theme. But that's the numbers they run. You know, this book may have that at 200 or 220. And I'm just figuring a little curve to it. But I have room.
Very cool.
But like I said, there's snakes, there's women, there's all kinds of things.
Oh, where's the women at?
You know,
Where's the ladies?
this is another cool one. This is the one from Milwaukee. And this shows, I think, the founder of the beer distributor.
Let me see that one here.
That one I did this morning.
Oh, that's good artwork too. I like that guy. He's
Yeah,
got a sword and his beer. That's what you need. Just hanging out.
Michigan only has a
City
couple.
Brewery.
Tacoma,
What is
Michigan.
was this a lady? Oh,
Well, they
there's a
got the
lady right
Indians.
there.
Wheeling, West Virginia. West Virginia, I think, only had 5 tokens in here. Connecticut only had 1. And Bridgeport.
Hold on, West Virginia Mountain Mama? Not 1 cent.
Yeah. I guess they're putting a disclaimer. So you must have known there was some kind of,
Maybe
you
that
could get
be
into
a
trouble.
woman or a man. I don't know.
Oh, that's a
Well, there
woman.
are women. There's a lot of them say princess.
Yeah, but some of them.
Maybe that's a man. Maybe it could be like a Peter Pan. It's hard to tell. Did they have Peter Pan in 1863?
Well, this one looks
Our
like a
Navy.
man.
Our Army.
There's
Yeah.
another one with the clipper ship.
They look
I like the
alike.
clipper ship. A lot of them are Army, Navy, and they show cross cannons and things of that nature.
I would say that's a guy.
Yeah. This one could be a
He's my
woman.
best. Oh, that's cool too with the shield.
Some of these are beautiful. I mean, look at the condition of this.
Definitely glad
Now,
you
this
called me in
was-
for this.
This was in a holder I think that said very fine. I took a little care and I'm cleaning them a few at a time, and holy cow, these coins have luster on them.
I guess with God protect the Union.
Our Army.
God protect the Union. God save the Union. Shoot them dead. These are very violent people.
I'm telling you. Find me and shoot me dead, man.
This
I'm
one.
going to buy that one.
The first IOU. IOU 1 cent.
I owe you 1 cent, but they use this for money. This is an unk.
Because they're not 1 cent, so then there's like, hey, but if you have this token, I'll give you a cent.
Now this is a patriotic token because it's not associated with an individual
Yeah. Let me.
place.
What do you think? 1 cent in 1863, was that a big deal?
I think you could get a pitcher of beer for a nickel. So 1
you
cent,
could buy
I'm
a
sure
round
get
for
you
your
a
buddies.
mug of beer.
Yeah. That's cool.
You had a dime in your pocket, you wake up tomorrow.
Wow. Very cool, guy.
As I said, these are available, or they will be available after Monday or whenever we get to talk.
Oh, let's show this one.
But which one?
This one right here. Because it's not, it's different. It's an actual coin, right?
Yes. Now this would have been after those times. This is somebody using a coin for advertising. Obviously expensive. That's a 25-cent silver coin. And somebody put the initials on it. I don't see that as a love token.
Well, it's a pretty lame love token as far as, you know, the intricate details that a love token usually has.
Maybe he was doing his best.
He was doing his best? Listen, this is the best I got, lady. If you want me, that's what I can do.
Not everyone was
Right?
fast as
That's my
that.
skill set.
I got 40 acres and a mule. See, now here's a combination of Civil War patriotic tokens. And that's where you have a combination of these numbers.
Oh, that's
And this
beautiful.
shows you the kind of stuff on some of them. Some of these I may have in there, I just haven't gotten to them. Here's a snake. $3.97.
This even says for a coin on it.
Yeah, that's a cool one, too.
I haven't looked at those, honey.
Looks like one of the
It was a
tribes.
coin shop.
See, I can see through this. What is that on there? Salmon?
Little
Yeah, it's a
campfire?
fish.
What is that? Oh, no, it's not a campfire.
I
Oh,
haven't
that's
seen
cool,
one with a
too.
fish.
With the flags.
Yeah, this is from the Oswego, New York. and it is a fish. And
Maybe salmon up by
it's
Oswego.
toys, fancy goods, fishing tackle, and rare coin.
One of the coin dealers has been passed down to
I
me.
mean, what was a rare coin to
Oh.
someone in 18...
And this has got a fish on the back.
Yeah,
I'll have that in a new holder by the next couple of days.
that's a coin. I mean, not a coin. It's a
Civil War
coin
token.
collector.
Yeah, Oswego, New York.
Fishing tackle and rare coin. That's cool. That's what I'm talking about. Look how awesome that is.
They put some detail.
What a combo, right?
Yeah.
Fishing tackle and coins. What every man wants.
You got, see, here's ones with cross flags and cannons. That was a big theme. And then they would just, I'll just say, here it is. Shoot them where they stand. That probably says something like that.
I need it. That's the one I need.
There's ones with arms crossed.
Tara, as a lady's opinion, would you collect these?
Yes.
Yeah, they're cool. They're really cool. There's so much history and there's so much variety.
And you can see, here's some biggies.
They say the variety is the spice of something. I can't remember. Life? Is that what it is?
I have a couple of
The
these.
spice of life.
These I have a couple of. Someplace.
There you go.
I know I saw those.
My question is, are we destined to go back this way again?
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, I was thinking like, wow, hard time tokens and, you know, everybody making their own currency and kind of separating a little bit. You hear stuff like that, you know?
Well, are smaller towns going to start doing that?
Here's the ironclads. No, they're not.
Come on, guy, throw me some history. What's the Civil War all about?
Here you have an interesting question. The South's going to tell you was state rights. The North's going to tell you it was only about slavery because that was the best political place to be. What's interesting about the whole thing is that, you know, he was a politician, Lincoln, and he was a great man. Slavery is wrong. I'm throwing that in there. But at the same time, you had slaves' rights. You had states' rights where you couldn't force your will on them. Gradually, they were going to get rid of slavery. But you had politics involved because England and France, and any history teacher will tell you this, England and France were carrying on because their factories were shut down. They couldn't get the cotton of the South. And we had to do something. And Gettysburg was a big battle. Had the South won Gettysburg, from what I've read, England was going in on the side of the South because they needed to get their cotton at any cost. So Lincoln had a great idea, and he said, let's do the Emancipation Proclamation. Let's free all the slaves blanket-like. And this was great. Now England and France were stuck because had they gone in and said, we're going on the side of the South, well, now you're for slavery. No, but that's what it was about. So he did that politically. And he only set free the slaves in the rebellion states. The slaves in Pennsylvania or West Virginia were not free. They were still working. You can check that out too.
Huh.
Only the southern ones who were in rebellion were set free initially. Once the war was over, everybody was free. But it was a political move, and it was a smart move. I mean, you had to do that. Actually, they should have set them free at the time of the when we signed independence. You know, the Revolution.
Yeah.
Jefferson wanted to send them all free then, but he couldn't get the Carolinas to go along with it. So what are you going to do? It's like, you know, well, for now, but it was a time to end. It was going to end. It had to end. I mean, it was wrong. But there's more people in bondage now than there was at the height of the Civil War.
Sure.
Look all through the Middle East. Look at all these sweatshops you have in Indonesia and in China and everywhere. It's the same thing,
Right.
except you call it something else to hide what it was.
Well, they pay them a little bit, right?
Yeah, well, you know, if you ever looked at the
Pennies.
sweatshops of the North at the time of the Civil War, I mean, you worked 12 hours a day. You were expected to pee in place. If you had lunch, as long as it didn't interfere with production. And yeah, you weren't a slave, but you starved if you didn't work picking chickens or whatever you were working at.
Wow.
I mean, a lot of people, it was a harsh, terrible world. It was what it was. Just like when you look at, you know, the hard time tokens. You had people that just starved in the streets because they shut down factories. The wealthy there, I'm sure, still lived on Fifth Avenue and Madison Avenue, wherever they were living. Their factories were shut, but they had money. Everybody else was starving. It was a terrible time.
So citizens in this country couldn't get along.
And then you were protecting your land. a lot of people don't tell you, and I'm not on the side of the South, but I'm going to tell you straight out, 100,000 blacks fought on the side of the South. There were 3,000 black plantations. Oh, you didn't know that? Well, read the real books. There were 3,000 plantations owned by blacks, and they had like 20,000 slaves between them.
The blacks had their own slaves.
They had their own slaves.
Yeah.
They did. That's just a matter of history. Right or well, it was wrong, but it's part of the game if you're going to, be open about it.
Right.
But that's what the Civil War was about, and it brought about Reconstruction and more hardship, the carpetbaggers, and hatred.
A bunch of people not agreeing with each other. That could
Yeah.
never happen again.
Yeah, well, it's. I don't see that, but
Go to a
we're in crazy times.
What'd you say, Terry? Go to a playground?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Everybody raises kids differently, don't they?
It's crazy times. It's crazy times. I mean, I get a lot. Like I said, I've had quite a number. I had a few phone calls from history teachers in the last. I must have had 50 phone calls since we're closed. It was busier while I was closed than while we were open. Everybody's still looking for gold.
Can't find gold?
Here's the other one I wanted to show you.
Oh, okay.
Here's one right here. Now this is a Flying Eagle penny.
Oh, man.
$15 is the price of a good, and it's counterstamped. Now I'm sure there's some kind of advertising. I couldn't find it.
C.H. Jen?
Is the guy selling gin, or is that his last name?
No, it's the cotton gin. Right?
don't know.
Who knows?
Have to look it up.
Or he's a liquor sailor. That's the one I was looking for before.
It's in the
Now I see what we're doing.
stuff.
So it is 1 cent. And the stamp has pushed it. That's cool though. See, yeah. Neat stuff.
Yeah, different stuff. Like I said, but here's all the combinations. This book's pretty cool because the last book I used was the 1990 edition that had all crosses. Here they just gave everything a number and made it a lot easier. I have one of these.
Your personal collection?
No, it's in here.
Oh.
I don't collect these, but I can appreciate them and I can understand that. I mean, there's so many Army Navy, there's so many varieties and so many themes, and I think they're really cool. I can
never-
understand a collector.
I've never seen enough for me to look at to want to collect them, but now I want to collect them because I see a variety here.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you see one loose leaf page. But like I said, there are a few hundred here, and there's all of these I've yet to do.
Got a lot of work to go.
This is New York, Michigan, Ohio. Looks like there's a race between Michigan and the three of these. Probably New York, because I did a bunch in New
Pick
York.
one out of random here, just on top. We're going to see what we're looking at. Civil War token. Washington.
Yeah, Washington's on them. There's guys, they have
York.
McClellan, different generals standing on statues that they probably pulled down since they made the coin. But
What is the numbers up here? Is that something for you, for the shop?
that's the code to find it in here.
Oh, in the
The
book.
442, what was that?
Yeah. 110/442.
You find it in here. It'd be right here.
So that's
What
your
number was it?
110/442.
442.
Live, look one up. Here we go. And
I'm reading this
R1.
upside down.
So R1 is still like one of the more common ones,
That's the most common.
but still not that common.
442, R2, but these numbers are way off. All these lower numbers. I mean, your cheapest one's going to be about $15.
Yeah.
Even in a VG or a good, and then it's gone up from there. Most of your unks are $50,
That's cool.
and that's in a 1.
That's awesome. Cool beans.
I mean, it's a woman facing two different directions, and a lot of them say 1863. Here's Knickerbocker. I don't know who that is. It's
Mr. Knickerbocker.
It's like some guy strolling with a cane.
Oh, man. Mr. Knickerbocker,
Maybe a
Bockety
dandy.
Box. Yeah, man. I know this guy. There's a kid's song about that.
Here's Indian Princess.
Yeah, Mr.
There's a
Knickerbocker.
lot of things. Like I said, I've done all these now. You're looking at 5, 10,
Very cool. Indian Princess. So that's,
300 right here.
that's like the gold coin, yeah?
Like the $3,
Yeah.
or the $1 Indian. That's what it is. You're right. Indian princess.
I get one right once
And this
in a while.
isn't all one, but this isn't all.
Cool stuff, guy.
It's a nice
So-
high grade one.
If people want to try to get some of this stuff, if they know what they want, if maybe they think that you have one, because you have a lot here, they can give you a call.
They can give me a call. You can ask me for one you've seen if I still have it, or you could say, hey, let me have 20 Civil War, or let me have 20 from New York or Michigan, or a mix, and give me a number amount, how much you're willing to spend, and I'll make it fair. You know,
Right
I
on.
can work with you. I've got 600 of them, so we got room.
Right on. I'll have your information then down in the description. I'll have your address to the physical store if people want to come here and look at them, and also your phone number and your website too,
Yep.
on that little down there in the description of the video.
Yep.
You want to
Thank
talk about
you.
anything else while we're here?
We've got a lot of silver coming out, and I've got a lot of phone calls. We've got a lot of silver coming out on the 2nd. So when we open Monday, we will have an inventory of 999. I pre-sold some of the rounds, but we've got about 400 ounces coming out of 10-ounce bars. All different size bars, all different size rounds. 2 ounce, 4 ounce, 6 ounce, 10 ounce, 12 ounce, 16 ounce, all different sizes, all different types. We've got a whole bunch coming out. As I said, on Monday they'll be available.
Cool.
We don't have any gold right now. As I said, we're a rare coin dealer. We buy and sell rare coins. We don't do bullion. We get bullion and we buy and sell bullion, but I don't have it readily available.
Right.
I do have some eagles right now.
You're the coin guy.
Yep. I'm supposed to get a monster box the first next week. Guys bringing in a monster box of 21, so if I have those, I'm ready for you.
I'm seeing this shirt here. Now, normally we see your blue shirt, says coin guy on it. This is a little bit different now. We got
Patriotic shirt.
New Year's
Patriotic tokens.
coming
New
up.
Year's.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I figured I dress for the occasion.
What is it? It's some kind of bell with a crack on it. What is that thing?
The Liberty Bell.
That's the Liberty Bell? What's the deal with the Liberty Bell?
Let freedom ring.
Let freedom ring.
Now, I remember going to Philadelphia in the early 70s. A friend of mine, Frankie, and me, and his girlfriend at the time, it was a Sunday morning or Saturday, I forgot what it was. We were off from work, and he said, what do you want to do today? Let's just ride. And he had big old Fury 3. And we got on the New Jersey Turnpike, took the LIE New Jersey Turnpike, drove all the way down, got down into Philadelphia, and we wound up spending the afternoon in Philadelphia. And the Liberty Bell was on display.
Oh, wow.
And this is almost 50 years ago. This was like in 73. And in those days, you could touch it. And now the Liberty Bell's encased in plexi.
Don't
so
touch
some
it.
crazy doesn't blow it up.
Yeah.
But it's, in those days, you could touch the crack and you could see the whole Liberty Bell. And I remember being over there, and the Philadelphia Mint was closed, but we could go over to the park that's there where Benjamin Franklin is buried.
Jeez.
And I've been in front of his grave.
That'd be so
And
cool.
that was, like I said, we did that then. And I remember coming home, and my dad would say, "Where were you all day?" And we were in Philly.
That's cool.
He looked at me like I was crazy. We were in Philly, I remember driving home. I remember seeing, they used to have these wells points, and natural gas was being burned off in New Jersey. And you'd be on a Jersey Turnpike doing 90 miles an hour. And I'm saying I was driving, but we'd be cruising along. This is before the oil embargo and everything. And I remember it was like, 11 o'clock at night, quiet, nobody bothering you. And we're cruising along, and all of a sudden, this Cadillac passed us. Like, I turned to him and asked him how fast he was going, and he told me, because Kathy had fell asleep. So we had no seatbelts in those days. You didn't wear seatbelts, but
Yeah.
we were young and crazy. And this Cadillac passed us, he must have doing 130.
Jeez.
He passed us like we were standing still.
Whew.
He just blew by us. I do remember that. But it was a beautiful night.
So you've
It was a
seen this
beautiful
thing in
night.
person.
Oh yeah.
It's
yeah.
got the actual wood on it and everything
Oh,
like
yeah,
on
yeah.
display.
It's
Oh,
got
that's
my
cool.
initials on it now.
Wow.
No. wait a minute.
I've seen the Liberty Bell.
You've seen it too in person?
When you're a
Oh,
kid
It
and you
was New York. It was class trip.
see,
Wow.
when you're a kid in New
Get cool
York,
class trips like that.
when I was a kid and I was in Queens, mostly in Queens. Our field trips were to Museum of Natural History. Our field trips were to Central Park, Museum of Modern Art, Museum of Natural History, Haley's Planetarium. In 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, you went to all those things. I remember I think it was in 3rd or 4th or 4th and 5th grade, one of the field trips was to the Flushing, to the World's Fair,
Oh,
to
that'd
the
be
New
cool.
York World's Fair in 1964-65.
Wow.
I mean, the school took us, because a lot of us couldn't afford to go. I think my parents took us once, one year, and then my aunt took us. We were there the last day of the fair with her, and I think I went maybe 4 times total, but twice was in school. But we went to Museum of Natural History. I've taken to the kids to Museum of Natural History a number of times.
My favorite was the library.
Yeah, New York Library. What a wow. That used to be somebody's mansion. I think it was donated to the city by the Astors.
It
Or
was
something
somebody
like that. How'd you like to live in
steel
that place?
company or
It'd be
something.
crazy.
I mean, you're talking about pomp and circumstance. And it's like when you watch Downton Abbey, you know? It's that kind of thing where people live like that. They still live like that. Let's not kid ourselves. You think Nancy washes dishes? I mean, she raids the ice cream out of her $20,000 Sub-Zero freezer.
Yeah.
I remember bringing one of those into a house, a much smaller one that was 6,000 or 7,000 25 years ago.
Jeez.
So she's got a $20,000 refrigerator, freezer there.
Good for
Did
her.
you ever have class trips to like DC?
No, we didn't. You did.
Yes.
My parents would never have given me $5 to go to Washington, D.C.
I just didn't know if your school did it.
I remember paying for her class trips to Boston,
Couldn't
to
afford
Washington,
I had
D.C.,
to pick one.
$110, $125.
There was an overnight trip to DC, and the same year. So it was DC in the fall, Boston in the spring. And I mean, my parents, both of them had to work, and I grew up in a
Comfortable house.
comfortable house and a lot of wealthy children around me, and we couldn't afford both trips. And it was
You went to both.
I didn't
When it was the following year when you wanted to go to D.C. again, I said, no, you're not getting another $125. You were there last year. Nothing much has changed.
Same
Same
thing.
administration.
pick one trip and stayed home for the second one.
But they all went. I mean, she grew up in West Iceland. And, it was a comfortable, it's where my wife was. My wife lived on the same street for 50 years. That was the town you live in. I've had people ask me what I used to do. I was a professional cook. And a couple of people asked me. I was a professional cook, a chef, a supervisor. My last job was as a department head down here, director of dietary. And in a facility that was half dementia and half PMR rehab. And that was the longest year of my life.
Yeah.
Thing about work ethic, and I just disgusted. So I started doing this, and I've been doing this full time for 15 years now, and I don't regret it. I love what I do. Every day's an adventure. You know, we're going to see 500 Civil War tokens come in a couple of red boxes.
Well, it's got to be wild to have a store like this where, just you don't know what's going to come in.
You don't.
You don't know what the guy bringing in has for you every day.
You saw that one parchment we had. I haven't gotten any phone calls or new information on it, but I mean, that was 1755, the French and Indian Wars. I mean, you get all kinds of stuff. You get people off of your guns, all kinds of things, which I don't touch, I don't buy. But it's, it's interesting. All kinds of relics and Americana.
Right on.
This is Americana. Civil War tokens, whether they're patriotic or store tokens, hard time tokens.
Well, hopefully some good people can grab these from you and kind of preserve history, through
They
you.
make nice gifts. There's a lot of history teachers. I've gotten 2 phone calls from history teachers in the last week while I've been at home, and we talked for time. And the wife comes in. That's enough. Hang up. You talk too much on the phone. And but we get into it and we start talking.
Oh, you're a big talker, huh?
Well, it goes both ways.
That's why my videos are an hour long usually.
And you see certain things, if you see you're afraid of what's coming. And it's amazing how many people think alike. And this one history teacher was telling me some things that I thought was very interesting. And I tend to agree with him. And I didn't think about it. as I said, I think Russia is going to attack the Ukraine. But that's as far as they're going to go, because they got to worry about Western Europe.
Yeah.
Because the French and the Germans are not going to let them keep coming. And, the French, the Germans, the British. So I didn't think of that angle, but he's right. They're going to take the Ukraine. Historically, the Ukraine belonged to them on and off. It's like land that's disputed. China's another story. But anyway.
Story for a different time, I guess.
Another time. We're going to see history. I don't think we should be at the Olympics.
No,
No,
it's a weird place to
absolutely-
do the Olympics, but
No.
what can you do?
My opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be there for too many reasons.
What's your plans for New Year's? Anything? Any resolutions?
I bought a couple of nice steaks today.
Ooh.
What are you guys doing tonight?
I was gonna, no, not tonight. I was asking what the plans were for tomorrow, actually, for New Year's
I
Day.
bought a nice London broil for tomorrow.
Ooh.
It was on sale, only like $7.99 a pound.
Are you gonna cook it?
Of course I'm
of
going
course.
to.
What are you gonna do to this thing?
I'll marinate it, and then I'll
Okay.
grill
With
it
what?
out.
What are you gonna marinate it with?
I'll use usually barbecue sauce, some teriyaki mixed with chopped garlic.
Oh,
I'll soak it.
yeah.
Well, there's enough. Too much salt's no good for you.
Yeah.
And then I'll just slice it down, baked potatoes.
Yeah.
The usual, a traditional meal. Not too much. I mean, we had Christmas last week at the house. I had 18 people invited. 15 showed up, and we did chicken franchise with everything, with the fixings, with noodles,
chicken
carrots,
franchise?
spinach. Yeah.
Do they sell that at McDonald's? Chicken franchise?
No, I don't know, but I make
The
my
McChicken,
own.
the McChicken franchise.
I had 3 big platters, and I had a whole platter left over. People took it home with them.
like
She took a
Marcella.
plate. My son took a plate back to St. Augustine.
Sounds like a fancy dish.
Yeah. Well, it's one of my dishes that I used to make all the time. Used to make it for doctors' dinners. For when you used to have Nurses Appreciation Day. I'd make linguine and white clam sauce, a penny alla vodka. I can cook some things.
Corrupted you to go out to eat, you said?
Yeah, that was like yesterday. They hate me.
What?
That was like yesterday when we went out to eat as a family to an Italian restaurant. Everyone's like, "Oh, we're gonna have this, we're gonna have that," and they're like, "You." I'm like, "I need a minute." They're like, "You do this."
And she's
every
eaten there
time."
before. She's been there
It's
before.
just- it's not the same. So, and the prices have gone up. So for me to justify paying the price,
Like she's paying.
still, it's that. It's like
And we did talk about business.
we did.
So I've got to look at that angle now because he told me I can start writing those off.
It
Oh,
was
yeah,
a
write
work-
that
it
down.
was a
Dinners.
work- It was a work.
Because we talk shop.
Yeah, we did.
There you go. Write it off.
Got to find a way. Got to
Taxes are
find an
coming.
angle.
My dad
mean,
makes
But, but got to go see my son's place in St. Augustine. He's running it now with his wife. The partner has been 86. I told him in the beginning he can get chopped onions and chopped tomatoes and chopped everything. But no, this guy was using his money to do things. I only did it for 35 years. Why are you going to listen to the papa?
Right.
Right? But he's learning the hard way. But he's doing good. We were down there for the weekend before Christmas. It was beautiful, St. Augustine. I mean, it was like Mardi Gras mixed with the Super Bowl. I mean, lights and music. There must have been 20,000 people in 1 square mile down by the fort. It was just incredible. I mean, you walk down from Brian's restaurant. Brian's home is he rents right over there, and it's just some sea of humanity. And belly up to every bar, every restaurant, the high-end jewelry stores were packed with people. And they had cops out front. It was probably the safest place in Florida. There were cops everywhere. Let somebody try a smash and grab there.
Right.
Probably 25% of the people walking around are carrying.
That's how Florida
Welcome
works.
to the South.
Yeah.
Yep. But
Well.
it was interesting. It was interesting. And Happy New Year to everyone once again. Have a healthy and safe New Year. And we'll see what comes next and what I can talk to you about.
Guy, Tara, appreciate you as always. Again, we'll have the information for the shop down in the description of the video. And I'm going to go illegally shoot off some fireworks with my kids. So,
Stay safe, still. Wear your goggles.
yeah.
I remember one that blew up on us.
Oh, jeez.
That was, 30 years ago?
I do the,
Gosh, people think I'm under 30. Shh.
my favorite thing is like they're like a little thing you put on there and you light them and it turns into like a big poop. Yeah, okay, a snake.
Snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to like the bottle rockets and the, what do they call, silver jets? Yeah, the spinning silver jets.
I like the Roman candles.
Yeah, we used to have one. I'm a city kid. We used to blow up the corner of 124th Street and 109th Avenue.
Oh man, what's the statute
For
of
a number of
limitations on
years.
that?
the cops never bothered us. They would drive by and nobody was hurt. I mean, the neighbors would come out with beach chairs sitting on the sidewalk watching the crazy teenagers blowing up the neighborhood. And the understanding was when we were done, we went over and we swept up the mess. We'd fill 2 garbage cans with shredded paper.
Yeah.
But that's
New Year's. That's what we do.
I mean, we're a bunch of kids having fun. We're rolling around busting windows or
The actual
anything.
concept of you cleaning up after yourself.
And we cleaned up.
nowadays.
Yeah, and we cleaned up. Well, it was one of the girls from the neighborhood. She had 3 sisters, so you had to.
We got to be patriotic.
Well, she ain't going to do it again next year in that corner. And she wasn't going to talk to any of the boys. And we only had a couple of girls in the neighborhood, so I guess we had to pay the bullet, bite the bullet.
The best way to be patriotic is to blow up a small part of your country, apparently, right?
Yeah. Well, in those days, it was. But you see, in the city, you would hear some fireworks, but basically, fireworks were illegal in New York, on Long Island, well, Queens, wherever we were. But they didn't really do much for New Year's. 4th of July was all fireworks.
Yeah.
It was always fireworks then.
Right on. Well, Guy, appreciate you showing us these hard time tokens and Civil War tokens. These are really
I hope
cool.
you learn from it and you get a little education about our country and some of the uniqueness in the coinage we made.
Yeah, these
and
are
the history and the thoughts of the people.
it's fantastic stuff that, I mean, once we're done with this video and people get a chance at it, you're not going to see this kind of stuff again too often.
As I said, I have never even heard of this kind of collection. And this came in and it was a random thing.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Guy,
Fun and games.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. Stay healthy, stay safe. God bless America.
God bless America. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all so much for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed seeing these hard time tokens and Civil War tokens that Coin Guy had. And what a cool collection that the person that sold these just had all of those right there as a collection. What a crazy and cool thing to collect. But if you want a little bit more information, there is of course some information on the internet. Also in the red book towards the end, you can find a hard times token page. You can see a few different ones. There's a lot of different tokens out there, Civil War and hard time tokens. Right here, as far as Civil War tokens, it says that an estimated 50 million or more of these pieces were issued. Approximately 10,000 different varieties have been recorded. So 10,000 different varieties. That's quite a bit on the Civil War token side, but a little bit of information is available in the red book. Of course, if you want more information, then grab that book that we showed in the video that Coin Guy was utilizing, and the internet would probably have a little bit more information too. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. Maybe you're not a collector of these tokens yet, but I wasn't either, and I definitely want to grab some now. They're really, really cool. Anyways, subscribe if you haven't. Definitely give the video a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. Comment down below. Let me know if you have hard time tokens. If now you're kind of interested a little bit, let me know what you're thinking. Appreciate you all for watching. Got to go for now. Spegtacular and Happy New Year is out.